Did Mary Magdalene receive the Holy Spirit during the first Pentecost? I believe that we must study particularly Mary Magdalene because Mary Magdalene, unlike Mary, the Mother of God, Mary Magdalene is another image. She is the image of our soul. Mary, always, she had the Holy Spirit from her conception. We have gone through times when we were in state of spiritual death for the many of us, not everyone, however, for the most part, and suddenly it came into our hearts. Therefore, we begin from an empty heart, from a vase that is empty of the Holy Spirit, and a heart that is filled at some point. Before being filled with the Holy Spirit, Mary Magdalene had been first of all delivered from death by Jesus. She could have been stoned. Certainly, she had been the woman caught in the act of adultery. She had been so terribly upset by this attention that she had decided to follow Jesus everywhere, and she even had spent a year on her salary for put a perfume poured upon the feet of Jesus. But Jesus accounted at some point something quite special. This zeal of Mary Magdalene, this passion for one point will run out, and he accounted it. How the demon had approached her, that he found his house very clean, and then calling demon 7 times worse, he returned into her heart. And this person's condition is by far worse than the first instance. It means that she probably fell, and many times due to her sins. Why did Jesus allow this to occur? So that she would touch to the very bottom of her misery, her incapacity, her overly mad feminine sensitivity, her inability to be faithful. At Pentecost, then, her heart being poor, repentant, her heart will now be ready. Jesus, having educated her well, can come into our heart, and he receives a home made for him within her soul. Because Mary Magdalene no longer had illusions of herself. She had become very humble. She knew what is to sin. This doesn't justify that one must sin. Also, the consequences of what's caused by her sin. The result is that she consequently becomes a great saint of the church. Carried by this breath of the Holy Spirit, she no longer betrays Jesus. She had the need, this pleasure of presence. She remains faithful to him and with a humble heart, so that the rest of her life she would retire after a while preaching. She had retired, given to the life of full contemplation. Where do we know this from? From apostolic tradition. It is not in the scriptures, but the Tennessee legend affirms that Mary Magdalene became a contemplative hermit towards the end of her life. This has been represented even by her living in total poverty, dressed only by her hair, devoted to prayer until the hour of her death. Christ appeared to her, came to seek her soul, and there finally she was able to be united to her beloved Jesus, a deep mystical union, and to become his mystical wife. It means that God now in heaven does whatever she asks. He trusts her completely. She is very simple. She is all love. So she is a queen of heaven in company of the blessed Virgin Mary.